Have you ever gone days, weeks, or maybe even months without being hugged? Not because you don't have people who care about you, but because you're living alone. Perhaps you're divorced, maybe widowed, or maybe your children and grandchildren now live far away. Or it could be that you're just simply in a season of life where physical touch has become rare. Today, I want to talk about something that I think does not get discussed nearly enough among seniors, and it's called touch deprivation, also called touch starvation. And one researcher used a phrase that really stuck with me: skin hunger. Because just like our bodies need food, turns out our brains and nervous systems need human connection, including physical touch. I'm remarried now, so thankfully this is no longer an issue that it once was. But shortly after my divorce, just before I turned 60, during the height of COVID, when I was distant from my children, grandchildren, and couldn't even go to work in order to have companionship with my coworkers, I expected to miss having someone to talk to, or expected to miss sharing a meal or a holiday with. What I didn't expect was how much I missed the simple, everyday touch: a hug, a hand on my shoulder, someone sitting next to me on the sofa. The little moments that might have seemed insignificant when they were a part of my everyday life, but until they were gone. And I don't think people talk enough about that part of living alone, because touch isn't just emotional, it's biological. Researchers have found that positive physical touch can trigger the release of chemicals in our body. One is called oxytocin. I'm sure you've heard of that one. And it's the bonding hormone. It's associated with feelings of trust, safety, connection, and emotional closeness. Touch can also increase serotonin and dopamine, chemicals linked to mood and well being. And at the same time, it can lower levels of cortisol, which is the body's primary stress hormones. In other words, a single hug is doing far more than we realize. Our bodies are actually responding to it chemically. I remember that during the long months of isolation during COVID and just trying to get through my divorce that year, when I finally went on my first date a year later, the man that I was with, a beloved childhood friend, thankfully, reached out to touch my arm, and I actually started to cry. Well, it was embarrassing to say the least, but thankfully I had known him since we were young. And it's not a weakness if we are starving a human touch or connection. It is just showing that we indeed are human and we have feelings. So if you are struggling to have a connection or for that touch, what can we do? We can hug our grandchildren, we can hug our friends, we can become more social, we can perhaps get more involved with volunteer or our church, or we can cuddle with our fur babies. A dog or a cat curled up on our lap may not be human touch, but the companionship is what matters most. So if you have been struggling, we are here as a community on Senior Life. So reach out and let us know what has worked for you and that you are not alone. So if you're suffering from touch deprivation, reach out to a beloved friend, and I think that you'll find that the touch and the love is going to come back your way. So how about you? Have you found something that worked for you? Here in this community, we are always looking for answers that perhaps we don't have ourselves. And we know that there are so many of us going through this that are coming up with ways that make each day just a little bit easier. I'm Linda, and know that I see you. I am here with you in spirit. And together as a community, we can get through the challenging times in our life as we go through life as a senior. Be well.